Hello and welcome to Creating a New World. This is episode 5. My name is Bill Hunsaker. I'm your host. I'm the chair of the 12 Visions Party of New Jersey. And with me I have our treasurer, and his name is Harry Dolgen. Hi Harry, thanks for joining me on the show.
Hi, Bill. I'm hoping for a great show. It's happy to have you back. I know you were sick, and let's get going. It should be great value for everybody.
Yep, I look forward to it.
Okay, all ready.
Okay, this show is about the 12 Visions world, the world of freedom, wealth, health, and peace. Author and entrepreneur Mark Hamilton thought about what a world without initiatory force would be. He chose to write the result in the form of 12 visions. Here they are. 1. Become the person you were meant to be. Vision 2. Live the life you were meant to live. Vision 3. Feel extraordinary. Vision 4. Stop aging. Vision 5. Get the job of your dreams. Vision 6. Start the company you always wanted. Vision 7. Embrace the lover of your fantasies. Vision 8. Diet down to the body you always envied. Vision 9. Become a genius. Vision 10. Surround yourself with geniuses. Vision 11. Ride a prosperity wave that will make you a millionaire. Vision 12. Enjoy nearly perfect physical and mental health.
Woohoo!
Sounds wonderful, doesn't it?
You bet.
Unfortunately, it does not exist except as an idea. On this episode, we will look at Vision 4, Stop Aging. So we're going to get started with a little bit of reading. Let us start at the beginning to really understand the cure to aging. Realize once we say curing aging, then we are actually saying something much further. We are saying curing death or biological immortality. Curing aging also means properly preparing oneself and civilization for immortality, which causes much greater resistance to curing this 100% fatal disease. Curing death, for instance, is simply not desired by the average person who feels the burden of life lurking beneath his sappy experiences of life. That vast added dimension to the phrase curing aging will help you understand what follows. Cure aging, eradicate death. The goal of my life, and this is Mark Hamilton speaking here, and Dr. Wallace's life, has always been, for the past 40 years, biological immortality. Yet not until recently have we taken an interest in a single biomedical approach. Seems strange, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Not when you understand that curing aging and death is a dynamic process that breaks into 3 parts. The first part is political. A virulent part of the disease of aging is the politicization of society, which holds back progress to curing aging. We must depoliticize civilization. Say that 3 times fast. The second part of the dynamic process to curing aging and death is psychological. A virulent part of the disease of aging is the burden of life people feel, which blocks the desire to cure aging. We must replace the burden of life with exhilaration for life. The third part of the dynamic process to curing aging is physical. The final and ironically least challenging part of the disease of aging is the cellular degeneration itself. When the first 2 parts of curing aging succeed, then the technology, drug, or procedure to cure aging will rise almost overnight. So basically what Mark is saying here is, just like any other product, on the market, there has to be a demand for that product. And once there's a demand, entrepreneurs and geniuses, including scientists, will work toward creating that product to meet the demand. Right now, there's no demand to cure aging because people simply don't want to live.
Exactly.
They, the longer their life goes on, the more the burden weighs them down. Now, as we talked about in the last two shows, the way to take care of that is to help people find, well, basically the first three visions. They help people discover the person they were meant to be so they can start living the life they were meant to live and feel exhilaration in living. And then they'll want to live forever, and they'll want the cure for aging.
Exactly.
Because they'll be enjoying life. You have any comments on that, Harry?
No, you said it very succinctly. I mean, it's true. I know for myself, I'm feeling tremendous burden of life because I haven't found my Friday night essence. And until I do that, life is pretty miserable, to be honest with you. I feel the burden of life. Everything that you've said about Mark and this literature is so true. If reading it, where I am now is intellectually I understand all this. The problem is I haven't been able to translate that into an action plan. Okay? And it's a shame that the physical part of curing aging and death is the easiest part. And the toughest parts are, again, the first two parts. So, that's pretty much what I have to say about that, Bill. It's tough. It's a tough thing right now.
Yes, I also feel the burden of life. I'm working in a job that I don't really enjoy just to survive while I continue to work toward developing a business and income that's separate from a job so that I can start living the life I was meant to live and start enjoying what I'm doing. And I get small pieces of that. I'm getting a small piece of it right now doing this show. But the problem is Monday morning I have to go back to work and go through the hassles of trying to do a very difficult and exasperating job. And that's the burden of life, which I'm experiencing right now. And if I have to continue this way, I don't want to live forever, because it's just too much. It's too burdensome. It's too, and I feel the same way most people feel.
Yep.
But if I can get into the 12 Visions world, a world where everyone is encouraged to be the person they were meant to be and live the life they were meant to live, then I do want to live forever. I just don't want to live forever in the world we're in now.
Right. That's why both of us have to be successful to set an example for other people and to bring them along in this thinking, this thinking.
And we have to help them find their deepest motivational roots so they can become the person they were meant to be and start living the life they were meant to live. And they too will want, they won't want to die.
Immortality, yeah.
They will want to keep living.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. Good stuff. Good stuff.
So
hopefully we can make this happen.
Yep, we're going to read a little bit more here. If we achieve parts 1 and 2, here's what would happen. Parts 1 and 2 are depoliticizing America and eventually the world, and helping people discover the person they were meant to be so they can start living the life they were meant to live. People would be free of contradictions, filled with the exhilaration for life that brings on the desire, the passion to live forever, brings on the demand for biological immortality. Remember, civilization would no longer be politicized, which brings on the super society with super rapid advancement of new technologies, enabling the supply to rise and meet the demand for biological immortality. With parts 1 and 2, there would be a world drive greater than anything humanity has ever seen, greater than the Manhattan Project or the Moon Project. That drive would be for biological immortality, or Project Life. Okay, and he also says, now let us go back and take a deeper look into this 3-part cause and effect process for curing aging and death. First part, depoliticizing civilization. There is so much more here than meets the eye, and we could never succeed without the deep work of understanding that what is beneath this expression, depoliticized civilization. This first part of the dynamic process of curing aging and death requires whole bodies of work, including Mark Hamilton's work, Dr. Wallace's work, and Dr. Julian Jaynes' work, and the decades behind those works. The root beneath depoliticizing civilization, as I said, is leaping from the bicameral-like mentality that needs authorization from outside to the neo-think mentality that integrates knowledge into puzzles or maps which guide oneself, independent of authorization from outside. Now this is why we're where we are, basically. Our brain, as it has evolved, looks for external authority, but consciousness gives us the ability to bring information in, put it together, and make our own decisions about our lives. And once you learn how to bring information in and put it together yourself, you don't need to rely on external authorities, other people, to tell you what to do. And I'm still learning how to do that, and I know you're just beginning to learn how to do that, Harry.
Correct. It's a scary step. I've been following directions my whole life, ever since I'm a little kid, and to say to me, now you have to make your own decisions, you follow your own information, you don't listen to other people, or if you do, you question what they're saying to you. This is a new mentality, neo-think, okay? And I'm struggling with it too. And intellectually, I understand all this, and I'm learning how to integrate, and I'm thinking about it a lot. But it's emotionally, it's hard to do, okay? And what you said is so true. I mean, most people nowadays are too automatic in their thinking and following directions from other people and government and religion. They're like robots, you know. So we have to try to educate these people and stimulate these people. And like I said in the first time I spoke to you, we have to use ourselves as an example, hopefully to be successful, find our Friday Night Essence, be wealthy and happy, and then show other people how to do it. So.
Yes. And what we need to do is integrate reality. What we need to do is bring everything in from outside. Reality exists. It's all around us. It's there. We just have to perceive it to the best of our ability, bring it all together, and then make decisions based on all of that information about what is around us, including what people are talking about, what they want, and once you start doing that, everything opens up to the point where you're just, sometimes I get overwhelmed thinking about the things I want to do, the things that I can accomplish.
Yeah.
And then I have to slow down and say, wait a minute, you're still trying to do this first thing. I mean, I want to get to the point where I can start doing 2 or 3 things at once,
Yeah.
and I'm working toward that and learning how to do that. But, it's so hard to break the habits that hold you back, the habits that say, I can't do anything without somebody approving it or somebody saying it's okay to do it. I'm still learning to, that I don't need anyone else's approval.
Right.
I just, but also I'm not going to just go do something because it feels good at the moment. I'm going to think about it and, look at the consequences and not do things, that will hurt me, and not do things that will hurt people around me that I care about and other people that I don't know, because I care about everybody. To me, everyone deserves the right to live the life they were meant to live. And, I'm not going to do anything that's going to hold people back or prevent them or, end their life prematurely so that they don't have the opportunity to live the life they were meant to live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Well said. But for us to educate and stimulate other people, they're so involved in their world, working and getting home and eating, going to sleep, getting up and going to work again, and pretty much everybody's miserable. Okay, we have to try to come up. That's why this show is wonderful, and you're showing people that there's another type of world out there, a better world out there. So just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully we'll get more and more people thinking in Neothink and the 12 Visions world.
As you've said over and over in different ways, it starts with us, each one of us.
Yeah.
Taking that step, taking that leap, and saying, "I am my own highest authority."
Yeah.
One can tell me what to do.
That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I make all the decisions. I'm responsible for the outcome of those decisions, and I'm in control. So even if I mess up, I can fix it and I can make it better.
Yeah, I'm finding you're right about that. I'm having a hard time taking 100% personal responsibility for my thoughts and my actions. A lot of times I'm still blaming other people, circumstances out there, and so I have to just put a stop sign in my head. When I start doing that and blaming everybody else for what's happening in my life, I got to try to say stop and rethink and use some discipline, thought, and control, and maybe make it into a habit. Yeah,
and I also want to say at this point that that while we're covering these concepts, we're not getting really deep into them because we could spend the whole hour just talking about the bicameral mentality, or
one paragraph.
right, no longer seeking external authority, no longer looking to others, no longer asking other people, what should I do? What do I do?
Yeah.
And figuring out, we could talk about that forever.
Right.
But the best way to find out about all these things and learn about them and bring them into your life is to become involved with the Neothink Society.
Great.
That's where you can find out, who you were meant to be and the life you were meant to live. And that, to me, that's what the Neothink Society is for, to lift people up and help them learn who they are, and who, what will bring them happiness and joy.
Right.
But we're gonna go a little bit further on this, and then we're gonna move on to the next step 2. It says, governments as we know them today are mutations of the bicameral mentality, which is the way, the brain that we have that evolved before we became conscious beings. The authorization from outside. That's what the bicameral mentality is. That our brains seek, direction and authorization from outside ourselves. The conscious mind, instead of guiding itself, continues to be guided by external authorities. From the moment a child starts becoming conscious, the bicameral mutations get programmed into his psyche like a computer virus via learned and mimicked reactions, learned from his parents first, then from society. So that's where it all starts. Because at first, you just have your brain, and you start developing into the person you will become. And at first, you learn how to be a conscious person, how to be a person by imitating and watching your parents and seeing what they do. And then as you grow and become, you know, more developed and older, then you're sent to school out into the world to learn more and more about, you know, how to be a person, how to be a conscious being. And unfortunately, in the society we're in now, you're taught to follow, to find people to tell you what to do.
Yeah, to fit in. The education system teaches us how to fit in.
So you're taught to look for external authorities.
Yep.
And that's why everybody is where they are now.
Absolutely.
So that's you know, we're trying to get people, you know, the Neothink Society is helping people find, you know, how to be a conscious being and excuse me, and be a self-leader and you know, live life on your own terms and find your own happiness. So we're going to move on to the second step. I'll tell you what page we're going to in just a moment here. And I apologize.
That's okay. And by the way, we're reading from SOS Visions.
Correct. Thank you very
SOS
much.
Visions.
Okay. Okay, there's a lot of material here, but I'm going to try to give us the important points and talk about them rather than just read.
Yeah, summary.
Okay. Excuse me.
Part 2?
Yes.
Replacing the burden of life with exhilaration? Is that where you want to go?
I apologize. What page are you on, Harry? That sounds like an excellent place.
That's page 78. All of you viewing this, get the SOS Roots.
Yep.
And Visions, too. We'll explain a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There's a lot more material here, and I would recommend reading it, whatever version of the literature you have. And if you don't have the literature, I recommend contacting the Neothink Society customer service line. And unfortunately, I don't have that information in front of me, but in future episodes, I will be letting everyone know what that information is. But anyway, replacing the burden of life with exhilaration. The root beneath replacing the burden of life with exhilaration for life is to leap from the value producer to the value creator. Let me give you a brief background on the burden of life. In Vision 2, I explained why underneath all our happy experiences of life exists a burden. Our happy experiences include getting a good education, landing a good job after our schooling, falling in love, getting married, having children, raising a family, retirement, perhaps travel, seeing the world. But when those happy experiences are all used up, then the burden rises to the surface like the static on an old record when the song ends. The burden that rises between and after the happy experiences allows us to accept death. Why do we have that burden? That understanding comes by understanding the nature of consciousness. That understanding of consciousness grows as you begin to gain an understanding about the universe. an understanding as presented in the third insight in Book 3 that goes beyond the bicameral explanation that God created everything. So basically what Mark is saying here is that as we get older, we start to notice that things aren't exactly as we were taught when we were children, especially if we have a religious background. But also, we start to notice that because we've been taught to listen to others and look to them for guidance, we often find ourselves doing things that we really don't want to do, that we don't enjoy, and either because we were, our parents just want us to do something, or some counselor or person who had a lot of influence in our life told us we should do this or that. We set aside the things we really wanted to do and just did, what we were told. I did that, and I spent most of my life just hating what I was doing. And I don't hate what I'm doing now, but I don't enjoy it thoroughly. I'm learning to find things that I enjoy doing, and learning slowly how to take those things and use them, not only to get an income to survive, but to prosper and have a happy and joyful life. And that's what we need to do for everyone, so that they start wanting to end aging and death and start wanting to keep living. And that's the point of what Mark says in a lot of interesting and very well written words.
Well said. Well said.
So then we get on to part 3, the physical cure. The drug, the serum, the operation, the electronic transfer. What is the root behind this? Cells, genes, DNA, hormones, cryonics, quantum computers? What is the root behind the physical cure? The point of this, and I'm not going to read any further, but the point of this is that once enough people want the cure, then the drive will be there for people to go and find the cure, and they'll find it. I mean, they may not find it it may take a little time, but right now there's only little things happening toward finding the cure for aging, because most people don't want it.
Yeah.
Only a few people see the possibilities. Only a few people are living their deepest motivational root, living the life they were meant to live, and don't want to give it up.
Right.
Most people aren't living the life they were meant to live, and aren't, and mostly just distracting themselves from the life they're living, the life that, that they didn't really want. So they don't want to keep living like that because it's too painful, it's too, horrible. So they're not looking for it. They're not asking for it. But once people learn, their deepest motivational root and become the person they were meant to be and start living the life they were meant to live, and once we depoliticize society to get everything out of the way that's holding us back, then people will be demanding it, and people will be rushing to find the cure, and everyone will continue to live happy, joyful, prosperous life, all of us together. And that's the whole point of this. Do you have anything to add to that, Harry?
No, I agree with you 100%. I think the issue here is it's a 3-part process, and unfortunately the physical cure is the easiest part about it. The other thing we have to solve is the other 2 parts. We have to change the burden of life to exhilaration, and we have to go from bicameral thinking to neo-think thinking. And unfortunately, this is going to take a lot of time. But both you and me see this intellectually. We haven't found our Friday night essences yet.
I feel some of it emotionally, And
You're farther along than I am, then.
yeah, but one way to really feel it emotionally, and where I really started to get a grasp of this, was by reading Mark Hamilton's um, what he calls faction, which is fiction based on fact.
Yeah.
With what has been called either the Miss Annabelle story or the super puzzle.
Yeah.
And we're going, once we get through all the 12 visions, we're going to be going into that and actually reading passages of that from that, so that we start to get the feel of the emotional feeling of living in the 12 visions world.
Yeah. In fact, here I'll show the book. I got the 3 parts of the super puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm rereading it. I'm on chapter 11 of conceiving the super puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's terrific. You're right, and it's again. Hopefully, I can make that that leap from emotionally into conscious thinking and possibly neo think.
Mm-hmm.
Because we both see it. We both know how there's a better world out there.
That's why I'm here, and that's why I'm doing this show, because I see the future that we could be living.
Absolutely.
And I want that. I want that world. I want to live in it, and I'm going to do everything I can to bring it about for everyone.
And this show is very important. That's why I'm glad you're doing it, Bill. Not too many people in the Neo-Think Society are doing things like this, and it's tremendous value. Not only because I'm on the panel with you, but I'm getting a lot of value. I could just listen to this, and I'd be pretty happy, and it uplifts me. It gives me a lot more reason for living, just listening to this material, and it re-energizes me. So keep up the good work, okay?
Thank you. We're going to move on now to the next part, which is creating the 12 visions world, and discuss the prime law. But first, we're going to play a little game, which I always look forward to playing.
I'm on the spot.
Called Where's the Force? And the thing about this is there are no wrong answers, because people see things from all different angles. So
good point.
For different people, the Force is in different places. I mean, the discussion we had in the last show, basically we saw 3 or 4 different perspectives, including perspectives that I wasn't aware of, and perspectives that the other people on the show weren't aware of either. So anyway,
yeah,
the topic for today is car insurance. Harry, where's the Force?
Car insurance.
Yes.
As I see it, all the ads telling me that we have to be insured and leave our loved ones with money. Okay, that's a good thing.
Automobile insurance.
Oh, car insurance.
Yes,
all
automobile
the
insurance.
Those too.
Mm-hmm.
Car insurance. Well, basically, you can't drive the car unless you have insurance. Basically, that's force right there. And if you get caught, you get put away. If you get stopped and you don't have that car insurance, you don't have that registration, you're dead. You're dead. So again, it's initiatory force. It's the government telling you what you must do. It's not voluntary, and that's it. Sorry about the first part.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't state it clearly.
Yeah, life insurance. I was thinking.
Everything. That'll be a topic for a future game. But everything you said is correct.
Yeah.
In addition to that, in most cases, you're told exactly what kind of insurance you can have.
Good point. Didn't think of that.
Vary from it very much. So there's no choice at all, and and even though you're paying all this money to a company that's insuring you, part of the time you end up paying more money anyway, or you don't get the repairs that you expected, and then you end up paying more because the insurance company did what you were paying them to do in the first place, which was insure your car. plus here in New Jersey, we have what's called no-fault insurance.
That's right. Yeah.
To me means nobody's responsible.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, so, you know, all around insurance is initiatory force. I mean, I certainly believe in people being responsible for the, you know, the consequences of their actions and be responsible for damaging other people's property or injuring other people while they're driving. But there's obviously better ways to do this.
Look at the policy. It's about 20 or 30 pages.
Right, and
Make sure you look at the fine print. And
right,
you'll
and
see
half
so
of it
much force. You'll see so much force.
Mhm.
You're ready to say, you know, why am I choosing this insurance company? And you don't have too many choices of which insurance company, which car insurance company to join, because they make it very difficult for you to get insurance, especially if you had more than 1 or 2 or 3 accidents.
Mhm.
And their rates, the premiums are so high. We can get into this.
Oh yeah, we could go on, but we've made the basic point.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, everyone has a responsibility to drive safely and and um, and do their best not to damage other people's property or injure other people. But you should have A, more choice, and B, you know, better ways of you know, preventing it. You know, an error in judgment or you know, something happening from having a devastating effect on your life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and also one last thing, you know, you either have insurance or you can't drive. I mean, I mean, that's the way we live our life. I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
And because people are being forced to get insurance, some of them revolt and don't get insurance, and that causes more problems for other people when they do get in an accident. And because of that, we have to pay additional money to have insurance for them.
Right, and there are people that don't listen and don't get insured and
Right.
just figure they can get away with it without getting into an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you're not the recipient of one of those people, you know. So you're right. Very good.
Okay, we'll move on to the next section, creating the 12 Visions world. 12 Visions movement is a group of like-minded individuals with one goal: to create the 12 Visions world. This movement is being organized by the 12 Visions Party. Here's the purpose of the 12 Visions Party. The TVP has one purpose: to bring about an initiatory, force-free, protection-only, service-based government via the Prime Law Amendment and protection-only budget, forever ending the age-old power-based government and its virulent, force-backed rule of man, forever depoliticizing America and eventually the entire world, thus setting free the geniuses of society, launching the wealth of mankind as described in the TVP platform.
Sounds wonderful.
Yep. Really quickly, this is how it is going to happen. First, we elect a 12 Visions presidential team. They submit a protection-only budget to Congress and also suggest that the Prime Law Amendment be passed by Congress and, you know, presented to the states to be ratified. Then, of course, the politicians won't want to follow the protection-only budget, which takes out most of the government programs.
That's for sure.
And the power that they thrive on. So then the president tells the people that the politicians in Congress are preventing it, and says now we have neo-think minded business people who are willing to go and help, you know, complete this program and fulfill the purpose of the 12 Visions Party, and they're elected to office and they pass the protection-only budget and send out the Prime Law Amendment to the states. Then once that is done, all the pieces of government that have been shut down, that aren't providing protection for the individual, are sold off, and the money brought in from those sales are used to pay off Social Security obligations with interest to everyone who paid into Social Security, and to pay down the national debt. Then we have the new governing dimension and in that the TVP president and his team and the TVP members of Congress convert the government from the government we have now, which is force-backed and paid for by initiatory force in the form of taxes and a debt, creating a debt that we have to pay without our consent, to a business that provides the protection services for a voluntary fee, and also that does not have a monopoly on providing those services, so that other businesses can compete to provide those services. And that will bring out the end of the rule of man.
So logical.
Yep. So now in this episode, we're going to discuss what we've mentioned many times up to this point, which is the prime law. I know I'm going to put you on the spot here, Harry. I don't know if you have it in front of you or handy, but would you be willing to read the prime law?
Yep. Unfortunately, I feel terrible that I haven't been able to commit it to memory.
I haven't either.
And I am trying to find it. So I suggest maybe just keep talking.
Yep, no problem.
And let me find it. I will look for it in one of my books.
The prime law will be suggested as an amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and the Congress will have to basically vote to have that sent out to the states to be ratified, and then the state legislatures in every state will have to decide if they want to ratify or say yes to this amendment. Because of this, while this is going on, when you're ready, just let me know.
Yep. No, I don't want to complete your thoughts.
Okay. While this is going on, we will also be, the 12 Visions movement will also be putting forth candidates for governor in all the states, and also candidates for members of the state legislature, so that they can say yes to the prime law amendment. So now go ahead and read the prime law for us, Harry.
All right, everybody, and Bill, just listen to how logical and natural a law this is. The prime law, the fundamental of protection. Preamble. The purpose of human life is to prosper and live happily. The function of government is to provide the conditions that let individuals fulfill that purpose. The prime law guarantees those conditions by forbidding the use of initiatory force, fraud, or coercion by any person or group against any individual, property, or contract. Article 1. No person, group of persons, or government shall initiate force, threat of force, or fraud against any individual self, property, or contract. Article 2. Force is morally and legally justified only for protection from those who violate Article 1. And Article 3. No exceptions shall exist for Articles 1 and 2. Now, how does that sound? I mean, in that brief reading, there's so much there, and it makes, to me, Bill, makes so much sense, especially with Article 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Article 2 provides the right of self-defense and defense of others who are having initiatory force committed against them.
Great.
And the important part to consider about that, the one thing about, in order to have the initiatory force, you have to have lack of consent. In other words, if someone agrees to if someone agrees to give their money to somebody, that's not initiatory force. But if they don't agree and somebody takes their money or other property, then that's initiatory force.
Yeah.
And that's an important distinction. And also, you cannot commit initiatory force against yourself. So all the laws on the books that stop people from ingesting or smoking or whatever that they want to smoke would not be valid under the prime law, because you don't protect people from themselves, because anything they do, they consent unless they're insane.
Good
Does
point.
that make sense to you?
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that gets that you're talking about the whole issue of somebody who wants to possibly commit suicide, whether they are in the right state of mind or not, and then should the government take over and put them away if they think they're not in the right state of mind. But if they are in the right state of mind, then obviously I don't think government has a right
Mm-hmm.
put them in an institution. There are states that people that you heard that woman who killed herself, she couldn't do it in her
Yes.
state and she had to move to another state
Yes, she did.
in order to kill herself. She had terminal illness of some sort. I can't think of her name, but you know the case I'm bringing up, right?
Yes, I do. And the basic idea here is that every conscious being owns their own body and their own life. So they can do what they want to their body, and if they choose to end their life, that's their choice.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So there should be no laws that prevent you from doing things to yourself. The only way you commit initiatory force is by, trying to do something or take something from someone else without their consent. That's initiatory force.
That's a big thing, yeah.
And also, a very simple way to state the prime law is you don't hit people and you don't take their stuff. That's about as simple as it gets.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Very well said. Very well said. The important thing is consent.
Yes.
Consent is a big part of it. Okay?
If someone wants to give away all their money, then no one should intervene. That's their choice.
Choice, right.
But if someone is taking your money either by force, direct force by pointing a gun at you, or by deception, or by any way that doesn't involve your consent,
They
that's
don't have
initiatory
permission
force.
to do it, right. You don't
Right.
give up your power. They don't have permission, right. That's initiatory force.
And did you have any other comments or questions about that?
Said it beautifully. You said it beautifully, yeah.
Another aspect of the prime law, as an amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and also an amendment to state constitutions, which will also be done under the 12 Visions movement, is that by the time the prime law is ratified by the states, it will basically be more or less a symbol, because all the changes required to bring about the 12 Visions world will already have been done.
Mm-hmm.
The reduction of government to a protection-only basis, only providing services that protect the individual, and then the conversion of government to a business that no longer has a monopoly, rather than a institution that has a monopoly and can use initiatory force to force you to pay for the services it's providing. All of those things will already have been done. So it will be basically a way of saying, we like what we have now and we want to make it permanent.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So basically that's the prime law. And unless you have any other comments about that, Harry, we'll move on.
No, let's keep it moving.
Yep. And basically the final section is discussing how you can help to create the 12 Visions world. And the simplest way to help is to just talk to other people about it. Tell them, how you feel about it. Tell them what it is and why you think that it's a good idea. And that's the simplest way to get involved. The next way to get involved is if you see a 12 Visions Party candidate on the ballot, vote for them. But also pay attention to them and make sure that they are actually doing what the 12 Visions Party says before you vote for them. Don't just say, oh, 12 Visions Party, I'm voting. Do check it out and make sure that this person is not being part of the 12 Visions movement in name only. You can also get involved in planning by becoming part of the 12 Visions Party in your state. In New Jersey, we're working on getting people involved and organized in the counties so that we have people who will help us in 2016 when we have a candidate for president and we want to place them on the ballot. And anyone who is interested in becoming involved in that can contact me at WHUNSICKER@gmail.com.
Just repeat it, Bill.
Yep. That is WHUNSICKER@gmail.com. That's WHunsicker@gmail.com. And anyone who contacts me, I'll be happy to get in contact you and find out what you're interested in doing, and we can work together toward creating the 12 Visions world. From this point on, I'm going to start posting things on Google Plus and Facebook to bring people, hopefully bring people together, give them a place where they can gather and talk about these ideas and ask questions, which I will be happy to answer. Basically, that's what we wanted to share today, and I want to thank you, Harry, for coming on with me and talking about these wonderful and important subjects.
Bill, it was a very lively, almost an hour, and very stimulating. I learned a lot, and I'm happy. Thank you for letting me come on the panel and listen to this. And I tell everybody out there, just listen to all these broadcasts, these shows. They're going to be ongoing, and get involved. Listen to it. Any questions, get involved, and talk to Bill Hunsicker. And, the more people we get, more growth, the better. Thanks, Bill.
Yes, and I also wanted to say that going forward, we will be recording these shows at 3 p.m. on Saturday, and we'll see how that works out. It didn't seem to work out very well recording them on Friday evening. Hopefully this time will allow more people who want to actually watch the show as we record it. And I look forward to doing next week's show, in which we'll cover Vision 5. I believe that's where we are. And that is...
Start the business?
No, get the job of your dreams.
Oh, that's Vision 7 is start the business. Vision 6.
Vision 6 is start the business.
Start the business. Okay,
Yep.
so it's Vision 5. Great.
Yep. Vision 5 is get the job of your dreams. And also we will be covering the first part of the 12 Visions Party national platform, which is not as boring as it may sound, because the 12 Visions Party national platform is much more interesting than your typical political party platform, because the 12 Visions Party isn't your typical political party.
Well
And
said.
that said,
Great job.
I want to thank everyone who watches this program, and bid you wealth, health, peace, happiness, and
love.
prosperity, and love.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you again.